Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So the game we're going to be playing today is called the Babysitter, and the description is as follows. At a house in a remote suburb, what you find over the course of one evening and the decisions you have to make will test your resolve, your beliefs, and your sanity. So yeah, let's get it started. Crux Game Studios again. New game. Okay, so I guess I'm applying to be a babysitter of some sorts. Babysitter needed urgent. Child minor required tomorrow evening for our 12-year-old daughter at Westfield Groves. Reference checks will be conducted. Okay, then I guess we apply for this job. One day later, okay, this suburb, Whitefield Groves, is one of the more exclusive neighborhoods in the city, but it's on the outskirts of town, pretty much in the middle of nowhere. This house, like all the other houses in this neighborhood, is set far apart from its neighbors. This sure is a nice place, with a well-maintained lawn and pool, although at this hour it does seem a little foreboding. Okay. It's just about 7 p.m. and it's already full dark. The house seems quiet. Miss Raj, the woman who called you back after you sent in your application, asked you to be here by 7:30 p.m. and had been particular that you be on time. Mrs. Raj told you that she and her husband, Dr. Raj, were going out for the evening and she didn't want their daughter home alone. The fact that the girl is 12 and requires a sitter indicates there may be some issues here. Not necessarily, but yeah. Or it could just be that the child doesn't like being alone at home after dark. That's quite normal, yeah. Mrs. Raj sounded like a very exacting kind of parent. The type was very mindful of every aspect of a child's care. She asked you a lot of questions about your background and your qualifications. She seemed pretty finicky. You can't blame her really. These days, most parents, particularly the rich ones, pay a lot of attention to their children's upbringing. It is the nature of our times and it pays to be vigilant. Since you've been registered with the Guardian Angel Childcare Agency for the last 2 years, you've got good references, so you're pretty confident you'll get the gig. It pays well too. While you're here, you're about half an hour early, which you hope is not too early for them. You'd better ring the doorbell to let them know you're here. Okay? Ah, yes, of course, you must be the babysitter. I'm Dr. Raj. My wife told me you would be here. You're early, that's great. Do come in. He steps aside and you walk into the house. This lounge area overlooks the lawn and the pool through tinted black windows on your left. The floor underfoot is real wood and the furniture looks like it costs a fortune. I'm so glad we found you on such notice. Shreya, that's my wife, was quite worried we wouldn't be able to get a sitter on time. You see, I got an invitation to speak at a late evening segment of a medical convention just 2 days ago, so the whole situation came about rather abruptly. Shreya is very particular about in whose care we leave Maya, our daughter. We had a bad experience with our last sitter. She's very cautious when it comes to Maya. You sense a mild apology in his tone. I'll just say it's alright. It's important to be diligent when it comes to such matters. That's very true. I can see why you gained her confidence. I'll go in and tell her you're here. She's just getting ready. I'll then grab my coat and head out the car, so I'll see you next when we're back. It was a pleasure meeting you. Do make yourself comfortable. Shreya will be out in a second. I don't even know why I'm trying to create a voice for this guy, but yeah. Dr. Raj leaves you and you wait for Mrs. Raj, who he referred to as Shreya. He seems pleasant, if a little absent, a rather stark difference to Mrs. Raj, who sounded formal and humorless on the call. It must be pleasant here during the day. The glass doors on your left letting in natural light, but now at night the windows look out into darkness and the trees bordering the lawn throw deep shadows. It's understandable now why they would not want their child to spend the late evening alone. The house is large and isolated from its neighbors. The neighborhood itself is rather lonesome. Children with their active imaginations can easily get distressed after dark in such an environment. Every creak and every night sound taking on sinister undertones. Hello, Day. We had spoken on the phone. Thank you for being early. I appreciate that. As Anand, my husband, might have told you, we're attending a medical convention, and he's one of the keynote speakers for the evening. The organizers just called us a few minutes ago and told us that the traffic around the convention center is a nightmare and that we should start out early if we wanted to get there on time. So now we have to leave half an hour earlier. The organizers seem so, disorganized. Her tone is clipped. She's clearly a woman who does not like it when plans go awry or situations get unpredictable. This kind of reminds me of somebody. But anyway, I'm really glad we were able to find a sitter on such short notice. I know Maya seems quite old to be needing a sitter, but I try to avoid leaving our daughter home alone if possible. I'll just go with the second option. Yes, children can require supervision even at that age. I suppose so. Maya's actually quite independent. It's just that she's going through a difficult time right now. Okay? I'll just say I'm sorry to hear that. I'm not even going to try to pry. Thank you. Let me just ask, is she okay? Well, we recently moved here from another state about 6 months ago. Anand got an offer to be a director at the NHU hospital. We wanted to stay together as a family, so we packed up and shifted our lives. It was rather abrupt change for Maya. You know, leaving her old friends, her old life, the home she grew up in. She's taken it a little hard. She hasn't made any friends at a new school. She spends a lot of time alone. Anand feels guilty about it because we moved for his work, but the directorship at the NHU hospital is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and it was only right for him to accept it. Maya's behavior doesn't make it easier on him though. Couple that with her overactive imagination and it can get a little stressful. Let me just ask, what kind of behavior are we talking about? Well, it's nothing serious really. Please don't misunderstand me. Maya's a wonderful child. In fact, she's very bright for her age, which may be part of the problem. She's thoughtful, she reads beyond her years, and she's surprisingly mature for her age. It's just that she still hasn't come to terms with the move, okay? and unfortunately, she's expressing her distress in a rather disconcerting ways. Okay. Also, she's struggling with a lot of emotions. She's just turning 12, so she's on the cusp of her teenage years. She's in a new school, and you know how difficult school can be at that age. Hormones, boys, and all the rest of it, okay? And Aunt and I are busy for much of the day, but we try to talk to her about her feelings whenever we can. But that's not been going too well. The problem is she refuses to speak plainly about her feelings. Instead, she makes outlandish stories and lets her imagination run amok, and she tries to draw us all into a morbid make-believe tales. Her counselor says it's a coping mechanism, a kind of stress response adopted by bright children, possibly a way to get attention, perhaps a way of telling us that she wants to leave and go back to her old life. What's troubling is that she's never been this way before. She's normally not an attention-seeking child, okay? I'll just ask anything I should be careful about, any triggers I should avoid talking about or doing. Well, not really. Like I said, she's perfectly normal and not really a difficult child, okay? She can be a little moody at times, that's all. And she might, if you probe well, try to scare you with some of her stories about this house, for example. What kind of stories? Silly juvenile stuff, the kind kids tell each other when they gather around a campfire and they try to scare each other, I suppose. She may have overheard something about this house and she's latched onto it and blown it out of proportion. It troubles us how morbid and disturbing her imagination can be. About this house? Yes, I'd rather not go into all of it. It's just nonsense anyway. And besides, that's exactly what she wants, for us to get drawn into her hysteria. In any case, her counselor has told us not to engage or react. So if she does try anything, please be patient, be firm but gentle. What Maya needs now is a little sanity. So about tonight, she's already eaten dinner and her bedtime is at 9, which is just under 2 hours away. The time should pass quickly. There's snacks in the kitchen if you should need it. Okay, bedtime is at 9. Cool. She pauses and appears to be searching for words. I know that I may have come across as a bit severe when we spoke earlier on the phone. I have to be careful about who I choose to care for Maya. She's having a hard time as it is. That's okay. I'd have done the same if it were my daughter. Thank you. I'll ask Maya to come in now so you can meet her. You hear voices approach. Shriya's and that of a young girls. They are speaking in low voices, but you sense tension and conflict in their voices. The child's tone is brusque and irate, while Shriya's tone is stern. This is Maya. Say hi, Maya. Maya? Hi. Her voice is low, you can barely hear it. I just tell Maya that we are only away for about 3 to 4 hours and that she must go to bed no later than 9. She'll cooperate, of course. Isn't that right, Maya? You sense a warning in her tone. Maya? Yes. That mumbled reply again. It's great to meet you, Maya. Right. We have to be off then. If there's anything, please call. Thanks, I'll call if there are any issues. Yes, please do that. Goodbye. A few minutes later, Mr. and Mrs. Raj have left. An awkward silence descends as Maya stares at you. There's about an hour and 30 minutes to go before her bedtime. What would you like to do? I guess I'll go with the last option. Want a snack? No thanks. That awkward silence again. You shouldn't have come. You shouldn't have taken this job. You should leave. Why should I leave? Because you're not safe here. Go while you can. Let me just ask, what am I in danger of exactly? I can't tell you because you'll not believe me. Nobody believes me. I can take care of myself, don't worry. Okay, if you say so. I'd like to go up to my room now. Will you be okay by yourself? Do you want to hang out here instead? I'll be alright. I'm old enough to take care of myself, you know. I told them not to get a sitter. It's not safe. I'm sure you can take care of yourself, but your parents just wanted to make sure you're okay. My parents don't really care about me. If they did, they would listen to me. They don't anyway. I meant it's not safe for you. Yes, you already told me that, but what am I in danger from? I just want you to leave before something happens to you. It feels like you're going in circles with her. Why don't you tell me what exactly I'm in danger from? I can't. I know what happens if I do. You'll think I'm crazy or laugh or patronize me. Anyway, at least I tried. I'm heading up to my room now. Not bedtime yet. I know. I'm not going to sleep. I'm going to read, maybe write in my journal for a while. Don't worry. I'm not going to burn the house down or anything. Just look, if you're not going to leave, then just whatever you do, don't go near the basement, okay? No matter what you hear, don't go near it. Please. Okay, so avoid the basement. She leaves you standing alone. Ouch, that didn't go too well. It was just as Mrs. Rod said, Maya is definitely a troubled child. No sooner had they left than she began to try to make the situation uncomfortable. You'll just have to write this out. If she spends the rest of the evening upstairs, things should be fine. You can hang out here in the lounge and pass the time till the parents get back. It should be easy to do. Still, the conversation of Maya has left a bad taste in your mouth. She definitely seems like a bright young girl. It's a pity she's struggling with the pains of the changes in her life. But growth only ever comes from change, and that's something she'll learn over time. Okay? You decide to wait it out on one of the comfortable couches here. It sure is as comfortable as it looks. You practically sink into the plush leather. Hopefully you don't sleep on the couch. 10 minutes later. Okay. What was that? It came from this floor somewhere. It sounded like a door opening. Did Maya come back down? Call out to Maya. You call out, but there is no response. Earlier you heard her go upstairs, but you did not hear her return. The sound came from near the staircase over there. You distinctly heard the creak of a door opening. This had better not be Maya playing around. There are 3 doors here, the door to your left, the door to the right of the stairs, and there appears to be a door behind the stairs under it. The stairs lead up to another floor, presumably where the bedrooms are. The sound you heard, that creak of a door opening, came from one of these doors. You are sure of it? Let's just call out to Maya again. You raise your voice and call her name, but there is no response. You'd better check the doors. Okay. Check the door on your left. It appears to be shut. You should try the door to make sure. It's locked. Check the door to the right of the stairs. So I'm just gonna try to avoid the door under the stairs, but I have a feeling we're gonna have to open it anyway. But yeah, the door on the right, it's locked. Check the door under the stairs. The door is ajar. This must have been the sound you heard. Through the gap in the doorway, you see only darkness. What are you doing? I told you to stay away from the basement. Jeez, you scared the hell out of me. I told you to stay away from the basement. Why don't you listen? Why doesn't anyone listen? Anyone listen? Maya, what exactly is going on? You don't gain anything by doing this. What's that supposed to mean? Are you accusing me of something? I'm not doing anything. You came down here and opened that door, didn't you? I just feel like these choices are like predetermined, hey? I wouldn't want to say this. I just tried to convince her to tell me, but yeah. What? I just came downstairs now. I heard you calling me and I came down to see why. And I saw you near the basement door, even though I told you not to go near it, no matter what you hear. So who opened the door? It wasn't me, okay, if that's what you're saying. You know what? You're all the same. All of you think I'm lying, even my counselor. I'll bet Ma told you I'm making up stories. She tells that to everyone, even total strangers. But I'm not making up stories. I bet she didn't tell you what the real estate lady told us about this house. Maya, what's really going on? If I tell you, you'll just call me a liar and you'll accuse me of stuff I didn't do. So I'm not going to tell you anything. Do whatever you like, but for your own sake, stay away from the basement no matter what you hear. What did the real estate agent tell you about the house? Great, she's gone back upstairs again. This is so not going well. You're just going to have to write this out somehow until the parents get back home. This is definitely getting uncomfortable. No wonder Mrs. Raj is concerned about the girl. Children express stress in varied ways. You see this in children who are going through traumatic changes in their lives. The poor girl. You'd better close this door. Not that you're overly alarmed about what Maya said, but the sight of the open door is a bit creepy. There, that's better. Back to the comfortable sofa, staring out into darkness of the lawn. You'll sit tight till her parents get home. Okay. A few minutes later, the door opens again, probably. Really? Again? Come on, this isn't funny anymore. Why would she? Go and investigate again. What the hell is that? Someone crying? It's coming from over there near the stairs. Maya, are you okay? There's no response. It's coming from the door behind the stairs. Maya? Still no response. This is really aggravating. The sound of the weeping is troublesome. The doors open again. The crying is coming from the pitch darkness beyond it. There's no way you're going to open that door. Maya may be in there, ready to spring out and scare you, and you're not up for being jump scared. You don't really want to die of a heart attack on a babysitting gig. That's not what you signed up for. You'd better shut that door. Phew. The crying has stopped. This can't go on. You'd better put a stop to it now, or she'll keep doing this all night, and by the time her parents are back, you'll have died of fright. It's probably a good idea to talk to her, confront her. You could wait right here till she comes out of the basement. She can't stay down there forever, or you could go upstairs and wait there. When she sneaks back up, you could catch her in the act and then talk to her openly about what she's doing and why it's not going to help the situation. Okay, I guess I'll just head upstairs and wait for her there. Mrs. Raj told you to be gentle but firm. Maybe it's time to focus on the firm a little. Talk directly and firmly to her. Ask her about whatever is bothering her. Maybe what she needs is direct talk. Sometimes the best way to address something with children is to get to the heart of the problem. She might open up, and that would make things easier for her. There are 3 doors on the side of the hallway. One of these is probably her room. You feel exposed standing here in this hall. She might see you before you see her. Maybe you can wait inside her room for her to get back. That will startle her and even be a kind of gentle prank right back at her. Sometimes the best way to get a child to listen is to give them a taste of their own medicine. You should probably try the doors to find out which one is her room. Let's try the middle one. This must be it. It's a pretty nice room. She's not here. Of course she isn't. She's downstairs, crouched in the basement, perhaps getting ready to make those awful sounds again. Still, you feel a little guilty about being in here. It is, after all, her bedroom and therefore private. If she doesn't show up in a couple of minutes, you'll leave. Still, it would be good to startle her a little. Illustrate what it's like to get jump scared by someone. Okay, I guess we're waiting. A pretty neat desk for a 12-year-old. It must be where she spends her time studying and reading. There's an open book on the table. Something about that book draws your attention. I wonder why she's not checking the other rooms. Like a logical person would actually see what's in the other 3 rooms before coming to a conclusion that I guess whatever room they're in is the correct one. But yeah, anyway, it's filled with urgent handwritten text. Curiosity grips you. You really shouldn't be here in this room, let alone looking at a desk, but something about the writing, about its manic scroll. The writing is dated a couple of weeks ago. You feel compelled to take a closer look. Okay, we take a closer look. Thursday, the 11th. I heard her again last night after both Mama and Dad had gone to bed. I was lying in bed, nearly asleep, when I heard the sound of her weeping downstairs. I knew what would come next, and sure enough, I heard the faint shuffle of her footsteps as she made her way up the basement steps and up the stairs. Then she was in the hall outside my room. I heard the squeak of my room's door handle turn. I stayed under the blankets, my eyes shut tight. Thank God I had locked the door. It has become a compulsive habit and drives Ma and Dad crazy. I'm going around locking every door in the house, maybe from my anxiety. After a time, she went away. Friday the 12th. At breakfast, I told Ma that I heard the sounds again the previous night, the weeping and the footsteps. Ma glared at me, and Dad didn't even bother looking up from his plate. Ma said, I want you to stop this, Maya. It's becoming tiresome and annoying. There's no one else in this house but the three of us. What about what the real estate lady told us before we moved in here? I blurted. She said, that was a tragic incident, but it happened in this house many years ago. It has nothing to do with us. You're obsessing and imagining things. Ma was almost in tears. I nearly burst out crying. It wasn't always like this in our old life. Before we moved here 6 months ago, they used to listen to me and take what I said seriously. Now they longer believe anything I say. Oh, how I hate this house. But am I going crazy? Is she real? Am I the only one able to see and hear her? Okay, that's kind of creepy. I remember when I first encountered the lady in the basement. It was just after we moved in. I was alone downstairs and I heard the basement door creak open. I went to check. I went down there and nearly died from terror. I ran upstairs screaming and told Ma and Dad about what I saw. They were alarmed and Dad searched the basement and the whole house, but he found nothing. All he saw in the basement were the old packing boxes stored there. The lady in the basement. Okay? How I remember her when I saw her coming up the basement stairs out of the darkness. I remember a blast of rage and malevolence, and I feared for my life. Another time, a week later, late at night, I heard her weeping downstairs. I ran to Ma and Dad's bedroom and crawled into bed with them, crying. Dad searched the house again. He searched the basement, even though I got hysterical and begged him not to, and he found nothing. This happened a couple more times. Now they look at me not with concern, but with suspicion and even anger. Ma thinks, thanks to my counselor, that I'm having some kind of breakdown brought about our move across the country and teenage hormones. It's true that I hate this place. I hate my new school, and most of all, I hate this house. I wish we'd never moved here. But could they all be right? Could it be true that the trauma of change is driving me insane, making me see things? Seated by that awful story the real estate lady told us about what happened in this house all those years ago, am I going crazy? Some nights I lie in bed, wide awake, waiting for the sounds from the basement to start, frozen in terror. Friday 27th. Okay, so I'm not the only one who hears or sees her, which means I'm not going crazy, but it also means the situation is dangerous. Yesterday, Ma and Dad had to attend a party thrown by an old friend of Dad's. I think it was one of those boring adult parties where everyone stands around sipping drinks and talking late into the night. So they hired a sitter, a sweet 22-year-old girl, Nadia, who goes to BH College nearby. I really liked her. She was so pretty. I was up here and it was around 9 when I heard her scream. I ran downstairs and I found her covering behind the sofa, her face action. She was pointing towards the basement door, and I knew at once that Nadia had seen her too. I asked Nadia what happened. She said that she heard the basement door opening, then a few minutes later the sound of someone weeping. She thought it was me and she went to investigate. She opened the basement door wide and then Okay, that kinda creeped me out. But okay. Hey, just what do you think you're doing in here? You're reading my diary? That's creepy. I'm going to call mom. I should have locked my door. I went to the bathroom and just for once I didn't lock my room and see what happens. Please leave my room. Wait, I heard those sounds too from the basement, the weeping. Oh god, you shouldn't be in this house. The last sitter, it didn't go too well for her. You should leave the house now. What happened to the previous sitter? I guess you mean Nadia? She saw the lady in the basement. That's how I think of that thing down there in caps. Nadia heard her crying. She thought it was me and she went down into the basement to investigate. When I found her, she was screaming and hysterical. I could barely understand what she was saying. She said that woman came at her. She called my mom and told her that she was leaving the house, that she didn't want to stay a moment longer. Mom was furious and asked her why. But Nadia would not say why. I mean, it sounds crazy when you talk about it loud, so I don't blame her. Also, I think Nadia didn't even want to think about what she saw, let alone talk about it. She was so shaken. Nadia was up here with me when Ma was talking to her on the phone. She just listened to Ma wordlessly and then she left without a word. When Ma came home, she was furious with me. Let me guess, she thought you scared her away? Yes, she thought that I told Nadia about the lady in the basement and spooked her. That's why I didn't want to tell you anything. All this, I just wanted you to stay away from that basement. Because I knew you wouldn't believe me, and because I didn't want Ma to say that I scared you away. Tell me about this lady in the basement. I heard sounds about the week after we moved in here. First, the basement door kept opening itself, always when I was alone in the lounge. I was too scared to go near, so I kept ignoring it. I thought it was maybe a draft. Once it opened when Ma was with me and she just shrugged and said the door was stiff and so it sprang open. She said we would get it fixed. But then one day I heard the weeping and I could not help myself. I went to the door and I went down there and I saw her. I've been living in terror ever since. I hear her some nights. Sometimes she just weeps. Other times she wanders the house. Nobody believes me. Ma and Dad think I'm making it up to get to them to leave here and go to our old life. I don't know what the lady in the basement wants. I don't even know what she is. But when I saw her, I sensed rage, such despair. I know she wanted to harm me, even kill me if she could. But I knew at once who she was. She was the lady from the story that the real estate woman who got us this house told us. What was the story the real estate agent told you about this house? Before we moved here, Dad wanted to find a place near the hospital where he's working. So we got in charge of this real estate firm and she showed them a bunch of houses. Ma didn't like any of them. Finally, the agent told him that she had one more place on her file. She brought us here. Ma loved the place at once. It was spacious, had a nice lawn and a pool, 2 floors. What's not to love? Even better was the rent. I remember how Dad was really happy about how cheap the rent considering its size. The only issues with the house, Ma said, was that even though it's part of the suburban property, Whitefield Groves, it looked a little run down. That was when the real estate agent told Dad and Ma the story. She said She said that the long-term residents lived here nearly a decade ago, a family of three. The man was some kind of businessman and he used to travel a lot. His wife was a housewife and they had a 4-year-old girl. The wife had some kind of ongoing mental disorder, depression, I think, some kind of psychosis. She would hear voices or see things. She was taking medication for it. At one point, she began to believe that her husband no longer loved her, that he was plotting to kill her. It could have been the long hours alone, or maybe she was slowly descending into madness, but at some point she broke, and in a moment of madness, she killed her daughter and herself. I asked the real estate agent in which room she had done it, and she said she didn't know, but I think I have a pretty good idea where it happened. The house stayed vacant for a long time. Bad mojo, I guess. There were a couple of residents in between, but most stayed for a short time, then moved on. I guess they either saw something or felt uneasy. This house had been empty for almost 3 years before we moved in. Okay. Hasn't your mom and dad seen or heard anything? No, they say they haven't. Maybe they have. Maybe they're just blocking it off or something or explaining it away. I'm pretty sure they haven't heard that horrible crying. You wonder how any of this is possible. Could any of this be real? Do you believe me now? Yeah, I do. Well, thank you. It's great that at least somebody doesn't think I'm crazy. I've been living with this for a while now. I'm losing weight. The counselor at school thinks it's because of the move and the changes in my life. But I know why it is. It's hard for me to concentrate in class. I keep thinking about her, of the madness that drove her to kill her own daughter and take her own life, and I get scared. What if I go mad like that? Maybe that's what she wants. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I no longer talk about it to Ma and Dad. At one point, they began talking about putting me on medications. I don't want that. I don't want to be one of those kids, a walking zombie hopped up on prescription drugs. So after that, I just let them have their story. Yeah, it was the change. Poor old Maya misses her old school and her friends. Look, just leave, okay? Leave this house and go. I'm stuck and I have no choice, but you do. I won't leave you alone. I'll wait for your parents. That's nice of you. But it's dangerous. I can't ask you to do that. What if something happens to you? Nadia, the previous sitter, I think she saw something terrible down there. Sometimes I think that maybe the lady in the basement is looking for a child. Maybe mothers who hurt their children are never able to forgive themselves, even after they die. You should go. Ma will probably pay me again, but I'll handle it. Alright, if you insist, I'll leave. Let me just leave. Goodbye. Head straight down out the front door. Don't look back. Hopefully that lady doesn't come for me as I try to leave. Well, you're back downstairs again. You plan to get out, so now would be the right time. Whatever's going on here, you were no part of it. You didn't ask to be dragged into this insane story of the ghost of some crazy lady in a basement. You can call Maya's parents later on. When you're safely away. Yet a part of you feels guilty. The kid was alright, and leaving her alone here to face her fears while her parents are away, especially after they entrusted you in her care, doesn't feel right. Change your mind, or it's not your problem. Alright, let me see if I go. It's not your problem, flee. What the hell is that? Crap, here we go. Footsteps from somewhere down below, from the basement. The basement door. That was the basement door again. You got to get out of here now. Whatever crazy thing is happening, you are no part of it. What the hell's going on? The lights are gone. Your heart begins to race and it's difficult to catch your breath, let alone move. A smell fills the room, a foul stench of corruption, of something is long gone to rot. The smell is overwhelming, overpowering. It hits you like a fist. What terrible thing is walking towards you in the dark? That smell is unbearable here. It's difficult to think. Who's there? You feel a sense of foreboding, a suffocating blackness overwhelm you. Aish, this lady. Black despair descends, clouding your mind. You can't move, cannot even breathe. Terror grips you. A despair unlike anything you've ever known fills you. You sink into it, grief rising in you like a black tide. Can you just leave me alone so I can go home? Okay. You find yourself slumped on the sofa in the lounge. Your head aches. Your hands are shaking. You spring to your feet. Ah, you're up. When did you get back? About 10 minutes ago. We found you in the lounge. You were lying on the floor, passed out. When we got home, we found you like that and we found Maya upstairs, quite shaken. She was near hysterical. She told us she heard you scream and that you might be hurt. It took us a lot of effort to calm her down. She kept saying she'd ask you to leave and you'd agreed. Then last, she'd seen of you as you were leaving. Then she heard you scream. She said that you talked to her about what she calls the lady in the basement. She said that you told her you believed her. It's shameful that you encourage her like this, play along with the delusions of a child. Shreya will be here in a moment. She wants to talk to you before you go. Goodbye. Hey, Ma will kill me if she sees me talking to you, but I had to see you before you left. Did you see her? The lady, did you see her? Yes, I did. I knew it. You see, I was telling the truth. Thank you for believing me. My mother's going to be pretty hard on you. Don't feel bad. Until she sees it too, she'll never believe. I'm sorry all this happened to you. You never asked for this. Will you be okay? Well, I know I'm not crazy now. I think I'm going to try to get through this. Bye. I must say that I'm sorely disappointed. We put you in charge of looking after her, and we come home to find you lying passed out here in the lounge. He says you weren't drunk or on drugs, but I find that hard to believe. And to make matters worse, I understand that you caved into her hysteria and agreed to leave her here alone and leave the house before we arrived. You encouraged my daughter's sick fantasy, and you've probably set back our progress with her by weeks in doing so. No, I'm just gonna be direct. Your daughter isn't lying. There really is someone or something in this house. Really? So she dragged you into her hysteria? And you believed all of it? This is exactly what a counselor warned us not to do. Since you work with children, I thought you would know better. There's nothing wrong with Maya, it's this house. Goodbye. We'll be passing on our feedback to your agency. Okay, whatever. Suit yourself. Well, that didn't go as you'd planned. You've been shown out rather unceremoniously. Mrs. Raj was clearly furious. So was Dr. Raj, but what Maya said, what you saw in there, that sense of abject despair that washed over you in the dark. As you leave, you turn to look at the house. You think of all that happened, and you wonder. One week later, babysitter needed urgent, okay, and so they want another babysitter. But yeah, guys, I guess that's it for the babysitter. And I guess, yeah, I never actually realized that this is actually the lady from the basement. But yeah,